Indoor garden, last day of February. Now all the tomatoes I had here on the ground in the indoor garden have now been planted out, and these are new ones I potted up. So these are very young tomatoes, but already they are sprouting very well. And we have Mr. Colin Waffles and Kit. And as always, they all snuggle up and have a big cuddle after their baths. And then here we have the basil I grew from seed. This seems to be growing. And the coriander from seed. I don't know what this really looks like. I need to do more research into what to do with this. And then an overview before I take all the lids off. And I'll show you in a minute everything without their lids on. But this is how things have been growing here, with different kinds of topping on most of the items. But now, as it's the end of February, a lot of this doesn't now need covering at night. Same as the bigger items, I don't cover those anyway at night. So now it won't be cold at night at all anymore. I'm going to leave a lot of these covers off, but I'm also going to see what needs transplanting. So I'll now take all these covers off and then go through what I have growing still on my shelves on my indoor growing. Okay, so all lids are off, the loose lids, and let's have a look. This is white kohlrabi. So if they've still got a container with an actual attached lid, these are the newer sewn items. So this is the white kohlrabi. This is grapes. This I've only literally put seeds in. This is orange, so it's pips from oranges. Here we have cantaloupe melon, nothing coming up there yet. Again, a lot of these are just seeded if they've got lids on still. These are carrots, nothing showing yet, as I say, just sown. Pawpaw. I have one solitary pawpaw. These are my beans. I have 4 packets of different beans. So this is the first one. And amongst grass we do have a start of beans. This is French beans, packet number 2 of a different variety. Starting to come up. This is beans, packet 3. Nothing showing in that one. And this is bean number 4. And oh, this is doing the best. I planted all the beans at the same time for comparison. This is my rosella. I don't think that's rosella. It might be a weed. I need amaranth and rosella. They're the 2 things that I now don't have seeds of and really wanted to grow. We have 2 pots at the back here of tomatoes, and neither of them ever grew, which is very strange. So I'm going to take that soil away. It's part of my compost, and I'm just going to start again with those. Maybe the pots were too big, I don't know what happened. Then we have this, I think it's a weed, because it should have been tomato, but it's doing very well. Look at that. If he's a weed, then he can help my compost. And these were all tomatoes. I have so many different varieties of tomatoes growing. And then on the second shelf, I think I've just put chilli seeds in there. Yes, they're still on the top actually. When I was cooking, I just threw some chilli seeds on there, so I need to bury those. These are my spinach that you've been following. So these were all from one spinach plant that I took cuttings from. Here's another one. Looks small, but it's got the big leaf. This is the first of the biggest ones. So this was the second cutting I ever took. Let's go around the other side, you'll see it better. So yeah, that one's really good. That could be planted out really now. And this was the very first one I attempted from the actual top of the vine of the spinach. It's been staying very viney for a long time, but as you can see, it's got its first proper leaf now. And then these are ones that I rooted. I'm still rooting. These actually need planting out now because they've all got roots on. And I've just seeded these. These are, I wrote KT and Mike said you'll forget what that is. And I'm just thinking for a minute, what was it? So yes, Mike, you're right. These are tomato seeds that Mike saved. It's about his only form of growing vegetables. He actually cleans the tomato seeds for me. So kitchen tomatoes, these are ones he's done. And these ones behind, I can't get any nearer for you. These ones are starting to come up at the back here. I don't know if you can see. Can't really see what I'm filming. More tomatoes. More tomatoes, more tomatoes. I think I've finished growing tomato seeds now, unless Mike's got any more in the kitchen. And then we have all peppers. I wanted lots of peppers this year, so a lot of these are ready to be potted up. Some more at the back, more there, more there. I didn't take the cover off this one. And yes, I grow them all together. This is, I think they call it something like multiple cropping or something like that. It just basically means throw loads in together. You need a small amount of soil and obviously wait till they're really big, and then you can plant them out. I wouldn't suggest, if you do this form of growing, you leave them like that all the time because they need space. But to sow some seeds, you don't need to buy these little mini individual pots for little seeds. Just get one container. You need less space, less work. Throw all your seeds in together. This is from one pepper, and I just sprinkled out the seeds. And I just need one container size for that. And then more peppers. More peppers. These ones were the first ones, so these can go out now. Lots more peppers. Let's go on to the bottom row. So here we have more tomatoes. Got some weeds and things growing in there, so I'll sort those out. The indoor radish, this was a trial. I would say this wasn't as successful by any means as what I'm going to show you, my radish growing in the water containers outside. So I won't bother to grow radish indoors in a small container again. Everything's trial and experiment. That's red cherry tomatoes at the back in this container. More tomatoes, more tomatoes. Now this one is parsley. Never grown parsley before. And you might think I've got a lot of parsley there. It looks like I didn't know how much of it would take, so I put quite a few in. But we're going to have this for our guests. And when I go and visit friends, I can always take parsley or indeed pot some up for people to grow. This is cabbage behind. That definitely needs potting up because I think this was a small biscuit container, so that's not going to be big enough now. This is peppermint. There wasn't many seeds in the peppermint, which I bought some seeds. I've got normal mint, but I wanted to do some different mint. So if that takes, great. If not, I haven't got much there. And we've got some more things coming up at the back there. And then these are my cucumber. I need to grow some more cucumber because I've only got 3 that I grew. And my tip for growing cucumber is to touch 2 or 3 seeds together. That was why the first year I couldn't grow any, and last year I had multiple cucumbers. And then more tomatoes here. These look a bit straggly. And recently seeded here. This is chives. And then this is chives. This one's never grown for chives. This is grass. Ignore that. This container has never grown chives. Then we have zucchini. I've literally only just sown these, so nothing coming up there. This is Jappy Little Pumpkin. These need taking out there and potting up individually. And then we have Jappy Little Pumpkins, Jappy Little Pumpkins. They're doing well, a bit slow growing, but they would do. I will put the cover back on these because it's a bit early, I think, for growing those at the moment. But so I will put the bottle lids back on those. And as I showed you, the basil, my first year of ever growing basil from seed. I bought a basil last year, and we had our very first bit of rain early in the year and it got soaked through, so that died. So I thought, well, let's try seed. And coriander, as I showed you before. Let's show you outside. We have pebbles just come out through the window. So this is the extension of my indoor garden. This is showing you how if you can't grow indoors, if you don't have space, you still don't need much space to grow outside. This is my last radish I sowed. We've been eating so much radish from these containers. See, everything's coming up. I think that one's peppers. This is Rosa lettuce. These are the small ones in comparison to what I've planted out. If you want to see what's planted out, look at my hugelkultur videos and my raised bed videos, and also I do another video of other growing areas which are more random areas around my land. So this beetroot, this is actually ready to pick or harvest all the beetroot. We have chard, this needs to go out. Chard. Broccoli, this needs to go out. It shouldn't really still be in a container. It needs more air. This is more beetroot, my newer beetroot. This one is radish. And this one is squash, that can go out now. That will probably go in a raised bed. And over here, these are my carrots. I've actually harvested them. These ones are just the leaves that were left from the ones I harvested, so don't worry about that. And these are black nightshade. And then we have more Rosa lettuce. This one is melon. This one is a different type of lettuce. This is a weed, different type of lettuce. You can see how everything's coming up. Got some weeds in there as well. That's weed. I've got to sort that out. Not much growing in that one. And then we have more squash here in this one. And I've got a few bits growing on the table over there. Some okra, some more chilli. Mini munch, that's doing quite well. Mini munch. They're little, but they're coming along beautifully. I'll keep that in a container for now. And then we have Hale's Best. There's a few in the corner there coming up. I have 2 lots of tomatoes with covers on here. These can be opened up for the day. So this is my pet food bags with tomatoes. I've planted out so many tomatoes so far, and then with all these in addition as well. I've planted some tomatoes down in my guest areas and in my hugel beds. Got 3 great big hugel beds full of tomatoes already. These I've just seeded. Well, that one's popping up really quickly. All more tomatoes, all different types. My bar is out of commission because this is where I do my potting up. And for now, all the pots and things I'm using keep coming back here as they're emptied and then reusing to grow. All this normally stays in my old chicken coop that's not used, all tidy, but this season I leave it all here because I'm constantly potting up and reusing pots. So once the seed season for the main crops indoors are finished and I start just sowing outside, then this all goes back in the chicken coop. And then this side, got some more newly planted seeds. Now I must show you my chives, because I say I've been having trouble with chives. So I grew all the chives before. I've only had 1 success of chives, and I grew them in here, and this was still going strong. So I bought some chive seeds, which never seemed to really come to anything, and this I took out the whole ball with the roots and I divided it into the one indoors I showed you that's not growing, the one indoors that is, and then back some in here, some in here and some in here, but all mixed with the seed. So we had the good roots divided up in all those containers and seeds. So we've got some here now. I'm assuming what's coming up is actually from the roots, not the seeds, but we don't know. So it gives me more areas. This is doing exceedingly well in this one. I water them every day, just a little drop. And I will do these again when I finish filming. And under glass, I've heard, is a good way to try. So that's actually, we found this circle of glass from an old clock. So if you've got old clocks, use that circle of glass. And then the rosemary I bought is okay, that's doing all right. I need to actually water that a little bit every day. I'm doing there. That's where the basil died. And then the mint's starting to come up again this time of year. This, I've always had this mint, and again with that I just divide it up constantly. And then we've got 2 random tomato plants. I don't know why they're random out here. I think this was from the seeds possibly that we bought. Some really huge tomatoes at Timmy Market, and I think I would have dropped the seeds in there to know they were different. And same with this one. I've got huge tomatoes in the hugel beds now, actual tomatoes we've been eating for a long time. This I think is cauliflower. I need to see what's happening with him. And then, as I say, more tomatoes. Bear in mind how many I've already planted out. This is ridiculous. So we've got lots of tomatoes there, different types there, different types there. And I've just, this is a bit of perspex we found. I love perspex. And then these are the walnuts that we find, the owls drop walnuts all around our garden. There's no walnut trees anywhere near here. I have one tiny tree, but it doesn't produce yet. So I collect them all. You keep them in mulch over winter. Then in the spring you take them out and they've got a little shoot. This is almond from my tree. Just found on the ground, so I thought I'd just throw that in there. So that's my little update of my indoor and external indoor garden. If you want to check back and see how everything's going, then this does have its own playlist, indoor garden or indoor growing. some such title. So let me know in the comments below what you're growing right now and what is your preferred method of growing. Until next time, Meraki.